What is the hardest challenge that you have here at Hope Lives Here
Hmm.
doing your job?
Veterans?
Veterans, the people.
I don't mean that in a negative way.
Welcome to Hope Lives Here's podcast, The Working Lead. Um, this is where veterans and service dogs come together for healing, resilience, and hope. Um, Today, we're going to kind of toss things up a little bit. We're going to have probably make this into a two-part series. First, we'll interview Carl, and then the next one we'll interview Brooke. Um, Brooke is the founder, and Carl's one of the trainers. So we'll get some information, more information about themselves, and Hope lives here. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, James, and this is Carl Blanton II. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you. Um,
Joined the Army, went to basic training 12 days later.
wow.
I graduated May 17th, and I was on a bus to basic training May 29th.
Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't waste much time.
Uh,
And then I was in for almost 5 years. I did one tour overseas for like 7 months.
mm-hmm.
And then I was medically retired in 2017, I believe, maybe 2016.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time ago. I don't
It's
honestly
been a while.
remember.
Yeah, don't challenge my
Yeah.
age, please. Okay, I appreciate it if you didn't. Excuse me.
And then after that, me and my wife moved to Wyoming because that's where her family's from or was living at the time. And we lived there for a year. And then we moved to Texas in 2017 or 2018. Again, I'm
Mm.
off by a year on both of those, but or possibly off by a year. And then worked for the mortuary for 5 years, almost six, and then ended up here. Hope lives here.
Uh, how did that come about? I mean, from the mortuary business to Hope Lives Here is like from
Yeah,
Mars to Earth. Okay, I
right.
mean,
Yeah, it is. It is a odd connection.
yeah,
So I left the mortuary business and didn't really know what I was going to do. And I had a buddy, and his mom worked here at the time,
mm-hmm.
and they were looking for help selling sponsors and getting tickets sold for the gala that year. And his mom was like, told Brooke, like, well, if you're paying, Carl will do just about anything
Mm-hmm.
if you're paying. So they called me, and I came up here, um, and they just asked me if I could help sell sponsors, and it wasn't nothing permanent, just needed help for a few months, and I was like, yeah, cool. So I started selling sponsors, and I just never went away. I After the sponsor season kind of slowed down, and they were gearing up for the gala, I just showed up every day and swept and mopped the floor. And I was wearing my suit at the time because I was still kind of dabbling in the mortuary business on the
Yeah,
side. And I was like, she's either going to tell me to go away or she's going to give me a job, one of the two. And luckily for me,
yeah.
she ended up giving me a job.
Well, that's a good thing
Yeah.
because I can testify that you are a good trainer.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate
So
that.
yeah,
Doesn't feel
it's
like it all the time, but
well, and that's be part of the thing. One of the things I ask you about too, and everything like that. Um, what inspired you about Hope Lives Here that you kept coming back and staying until you either got a job, or what was that moment that said, "This is what I want to do"?
it was seeing the change in the veterans,
Mm-hmm.
even in the small amount of time I was there. So I was there. I started in like June or late May, one of the two, and then by the first week of August, she offered me the job.
Oh, okay.
So even in the small month and a half time frame, you start to see them get a little more comfortable, start talking a little more, joking. And when they first came in, that wasn't even a thought.
Very stoic.
Right.
Yeah.
And to see the life kind of come back into him just in that short amount of time. I mean, this was 45 days.
Yeah.
Um, it was just insane. I had never seen such transformation, and at the time, it was just from a dog, is what it seemed like from the outside.
Yeah.
But then you start to see the dogs every day, and Brooke says it a lot. If I didn't see it every day, I wouldn't believe it, and that's the truth,
Hmm.
because it's crazy.
There's something magic about it, I believe.
Yeah, I
Um,
100% agree.
where does that start, do you think?
What's that?
The um, well, can you explain how the process goes
Yeah.
from beginning to graduation?
One sec.
Yes, no problem.
So they fill out an enrollment request online,
Mm-hmm.
hlhtexas.org. There's a tab at the top that says enrollment.
Mm-hmm.
They'll fill out that information. That information gets emailed to us, and then we invite them to a meet and greet. We have a meet and greet once a month where we kind of just explain the program to them, tell them what we do, what we don't do, how we go about doing it, and just to kind of see if it's something they might be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some paperwork they have to turn in, some documents, and then there's some paperwork on our end that they have to sign. And then we either do a temperament test if they have their own dog,
Mm-hmm.
or we do what's called dog selection if they don't have their own dog.
I see. Okay.
And then that's the kind of the start of the program.
Start the program. What's is there an advantage of having your own dog over a shelter dog, or vice versa?
It's a double-edged sword both ways,
It
and there's good and bad about both.
comes down to the dog, basically.
Yeah, and the the experience of the dog that they've had before they got here.
Mm-hmm.
So if they came with their owner and they've had their dog for 2 or 3 years, sometimes we have to untrain certain bad habits before we can start to train good habits and skills.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of one of the big drawbacks of people bringing their own dog
Mm-hmm.
into the program. But on that same note, when we get a shelter dog, it's a random dog. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we've temperament tested it, obviously, and made sure it doesn't have any aggression or anything like that, but we know very little
Mm-hmm.
about the dog in the beginning. So that's kind of the other side of it, is you don't necessarily know what you're getting in the beginning. So that's kind of the give and take, I think, for
Yeah.
that.
Well, I feel that I'm kind of in a unique situation too because initially I had Stanley, and eventually I got Annie,
Mm-hmm.
and there has been some changes in Stanley since Annie. So it's kind of that in reverse, in a
Right.
sense. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I can kind of connect with that.
Right.
So, um, you've worked with several veterans, obviously because it's veteran and dogs working
A couple.
together. Um, what are some of the struggles that veterans deal with, and what um, difficulties do you guys address here specifically at Hope Lives Here?
Um, it's a couple of things. So our mission statement is to help disabled veterans with PTS, TBI, MST, which is military sexual trauma,
Mm-hmm.
or mobility instability.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's kind of whatever the veteran has. What's the word?
His challenge.
Yeah, whatever challenges they face,
Mm-hmm.
we address those needs specifically per the veteran.
Interesting. So it's not just anybody can walk in here. Um, like you don't do seeing eye dogs or anything like that.
No, no, we do medical alert service dogs
Medical alert
for
service
disabled
dogs.
veterans, and that is the only thing we do.
Okay. Is there a particular story from your graduates that you've had since you've been here that have really stuck with you the most?
I mean, honestly, one of the ones that comes to mind is you.
Uh oh. Uh
I mean,
oh.
not just because you're sitting here,
uh,
but to see the the body language and the the cutoffness, the distance that you started with in the
Hmm.
program, the non-trust, the usual,
Yeah.
to see how far it's come now is honestly insane.
Well, thank you. And it
In the
has been
best
a
way.
challenge. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, um, but I have to continue challenging myself. So I've learned that, and I think that's important for myself.
Because if I'd asked you a year ago to sit down with me in front of a camera and have a conversation,
I wouldn't have been here. No, no. It's
you would have been sprinting the opposite direction.
oh yeah. Um, what do you think the essentials are to being a trainer?
Hmm. I I have a different relationship with dog training than most trainers because I
Mm-hmm.
don't have any formal education
Mm-hmm.
other than the little bit of research that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I learned from Brooke,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I think that's a good thing for her because the only way I know how to do it is her way. I don't know any other way.
Well, her background
Um,
is a teacher, and so I think you got pretty lucky there.
right, yeah,
Okay.
and I was okay with learning because
Mm-hmm.
I knew I didn't know anything,
Yeah.
so I just sat beside her at the table for 6 months and just didn't talk.
Mm-hmm.
I just watched what she did and watched her interact with the veterans and train the dogs. And then one day she was like, you should start saying stuff or, talking or,
Mm-hmm.
interacting in the training. And I was like, are you sure? Shouldn't I just sit and watch for a little while? And she was like, nope, get in there. And that's really when it took off for me. So honestly, I think it's patience is a big thing, which I'm not saying I'm great at.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think it's being willing to take the initial, what might come off as disrespect
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning because of the closed offness and the defensiveness and the not trust, to know that there's a reason for that and not take it as,
Personal.
yeah,
Yeah.
not take it
Yeah.
as disrespect. I think that's a big part of it that most dog trainers don't deal with because they're training the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, that's the easy part.
They're not having to deal with the
Right,
individual in need.
right.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is, but to me, that's where the victory happens. If I
Mm-hmm.
just give you a dog that knows how to do stuff and say, see you later, I don't feel like I've helped you in any way
Yeah.
because you still don't have any sort of coping mechanisms that you didn't have when you started. You don't have the knowledge of the purpose of the skills.
Mm-hmm.
You know that he can to make him focus, but you don't know why.
Yeah.
You don't know that looking in a dog's eyes calms both heart rates
Mm-hmm.
and lowers cortisol levels. Like, and without that knowledge, you can't. I don't think you can make change, and I
Okay.
think that's the difference.
I see. Very good. You had mentioned some of the things,
Excuse me, buddy.
such as eye-to-eye contact, how it regulates spotting. So, have you learned any particular things that amaze you about the dogs that they're able to do?
Absolutely. So we have been. This will be the second year in a row that we go to the National Service Dog Conference
Mm-hmm.
in St. Louis, and we learned a lot last year. I mean, not didn't learn this necessarily, but the level of dogs hearing is not humanly fathomable.
Really?
So in a room, let's just say there's 5 people in a room,
Mm-hmm.
the dog can hear every person's heartbeat. It can differentiate whose heartbeat is who and can tell if one raises or one lowers or and while still hearing the other four.
That is amazing.
It's insane. Um, Another thing that I think a lot of people don't know because I didn't know. Um, so when you come home every day, it's kind of like your dog knows you're coming home,
Mm-hmm.
and people often wonder or talk about how does my dog know I'm coming home? Well, what it is the amount of your scent that is left in the house every day at the time you come home.
Oh, okay.
So let's think of it like a percentage. So when you first leave the house, your scent's at 100.
Hmm.
But by 1700, when you come home in the afternoon, it's down to about 15, 20. So
Wow.
then you start coming home every day at 5:30, and the dog gets used to that 15, 20% of your scent being left when you come back
It's
in.
time for you to be home then.
Right. And that's how it knows when you're supposed to be
So they really
home.
don't know, but they're in another roundabout way. They're coming about okay
Right.
by scent, not time.
Because they don't have any concept of time.
Time. That's very interesting. Um, I'm kind of glad that we don't smell that well. So,
Yeah. Me and
so
you both.
um, okay. So you guys are a nonprofit.
Yes, sir.
Um, how do you guys get to do what you're able to do? Um, walk us through that.
Yeah, so we're strictly grants and donations.
Hmm.
So it's just the kindness of people's hearts. We have two big fundraisers every year. We have our gala, that's our biggest fundraiser every
Hmm.
year, and then we have a car show that's put on by Bomb City Hot Rods
Okay.
in June. I think it's the end of June,
Hmm.
June 28th or 27th. One of those. Don't quote me on that. And other than that, it's just grants and donations that we
Donation.
either fill out applications for grants or we have monthly donors
Hmm.
that donate every month, and that's honestly it.
Now, is that a large part of the work in itself, other than training dogs with the veterans?
Yeah, it's a lot because there's only three of us
Hmm.
here. Um, Brooke, myself, and we have
Carol?
Carol,
Yeah.
who has taken over handling a lot of the paperwork.
Yeah.
But before she was here, it was just us.
Hmm.
So Brooke was doing all the grant writing, and I mean, I was helping where I can, but she has a lot more experience with that stuff.
Yeah.
The financials, the training, the upkeep on the building, the upkeep on the vehicles, or vehicle rather, everything,
Hmm.
and we do everything.
Interesting.
So the training is half of it, but there's the other half is a big
Big
chunk of
big
it.
chunk of it, your
Yeah.
time and everything, and effort and
Mm-hmm.
everything. So, okay. Um, where do you hope that Hope Lives Here will be in 5 years? Do you see any changes coming down the line, or would you like to see some changes, or what's your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously, I think we all want it to grow,
Hmm.
and for the simple fact to help more veterans.
Hmm.
I heard the other day there's about 30,000 veterans in the Panhandle.
Wow,
Um,
that's a big chunk.
yeah,
Um,
and we're obviously not helping 30,000. So
hmm.
the goal would be to get to a point where we can help almost all of them.
Hmm.
Um, and what that looks like, I'm not really sure, honestly. 'Cause we're quite far from that point right now.
Yeah.
Um, but I think my thought has always been it would be nice to have a small little rescue of our own,
Hmm.
so that when we have a veteran that needs a dog, we don't have to wait for other rescues and kind of go off of their schedule a little bit. They're busy, doing their own thing, and having to schedule with them sometimes can be a conflict.
Hmm.
And then we don't know what we're getting with the dogs. That's another aspect of it. If it was ours, then we would know the dogs,
Hmm.
up and down before they ever got in front of a veteran.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would give us an advantage in training and in the bond that we don't have now.
Hmm. I see. That makes a lot of sense. Um, Now I've heard stories of even though you may pick a dog, you don't know the dog until quite a while.
The 333 rule.
Yeah, 333 rule. Yeah, so
So when you take a shelter dog home
hmm.
for the first 72 hours, they're kind of in a state of survival
Hmm.
still.
Yeah.
Um, so that's not quite the dog's personality that you're seeing.
Hmm.
And then 3 weeks goes by, and you start to see a little more personality of the dog come out. It's getting out of survival mode because it's been with you for 3 weeks, and you've been feeding it and taking care of it and loving it. So now they start to kind of lower their guard,
Mm-hmm.
and then about 3 months in, that's when the full personality of the dog starts to come out.
I
And
see.
maybe you can attest to this because you went through it.
Oh yes, I did. And I can understand when I first got Stanley. There was a nervousness about him. You
Mm,
know, I guess that fight or flight, whatever.
mm-hmm.
Until he actually realized, oh, okay, this guy's pretty cool. You
Right.
know,
I'm not
he
going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere, and he's
Mm.
feeding me every day. Okay. um, no, actually, um, our bond um, became it kind of hit me like a rock
Mm-hmm.
because when I first got Stanley, it was more of a okay, this is an experiment almost.
Right.
Okay, and then not until he started like I'd take him for walks and everything, or even before the program, I'd take him everywhere. But I mean, not like into Walmart or something
Right.
like
Right.
that.
Right.
But if I had to run an errand, he was always with me.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a couple of times I had left him at home, and I'm driving down the road. And go, I need to go get Stanley. You know, he was my buddy. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Absolutely.
and it just grew from there.
Right.
Okay, um, and I have conversations with him now. And he probably doesn't have a clue what I'm saying, but he'll sit there, you know, and kind of
Uh-huh.
look at me, you know.
Absolutely. And
But
it helps.
yeah, it does. It does in a lot of aspects. So you had mentioned about St. Louis earlier and the dog convention.
Mhm.
Um, are you guys going this year?
We are.
And is there any particular classes, courses, or lectures are you interested in? Or
Yes. I cannot remember the lady's name off the top of my head,
mhm,
and I apologize. But she's a big social media dog trainer,
mhm,
and I've been following her since I started here. And I just kind of agree with a lot of the things she says.
mhm,
And then we signed up for the conference this year because of last year. It was
yeah.
so good. And then, like a month and a half later, we got an email saying that she was coming. She was going to be at the conference.
Oh, for this year.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
this year.
yeah.
So that's pretty exciting. Again, I can't remember the lady's name
Hmm.
or her social media handle,
Yeah.
but super excited about that.
Well, excellent, excellent. And this will be in July.
Yes, I
July.
believe it's the second week in July, like the 14th through the 20th,
Mm-hmm.
in St. Louis.
You had mentioned in your fundraisers as well, raising funds. Do you sell products? Do you how does the public contribute to Hopeless Her?
So our website, there's a donation link on there.
Mm-hmm.
We do sell merch at events.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, because of the nonprofit laws in Texas, we can't sell merch online without a bunch of licenses and doing other things that would just be more trouble than what it would be worth.
Yeah,
And there's only a certain amount of times per year you're allowed to do that online, and it's just too much of a headache. So other than online, it's really just at events where we sell merch.
I see. Interesting.
I mean, you can always come by our office
Yeah.
and purchase anything you'd like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously.
That's interesting because um, you would think that would be promoted for nonprofits because it's going into the
Right.
nonprofit. Yeah, but I mean,
You would think.
it's okay to ask for money, but and get
Right.
money, but
Right.
you can't sell something to get money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, interesting. I guess that's the world we live in. So,
Yeah, and the laws vary state to state. Like New Mexico doesn't have that, so
mhm.
New Mexico can
Oh, so
nonprofits,
it's a state thing.
right? They can sell merch 24/7, 365 online without having to jump through all those hoops that we would have to here in Texas.
Hmm. You had mentioned that there's approximately 30,000 vets here in the Panhandle itself. Um, What is your service area? How far do people? Obviously, you have to stay centralized, I would imagine. But
Right.
do vets come in from outside communities and participate?
Oh yeah. So just in the last 4 years that I've been here, we've had Oklahoma, um, we've had New Mexico, Dalhart, which is 90 minutes from here if you
Yeah.
do the speed limit, um, or 60 to 90.
Yeah.
Anywhere that, as long as they're okay with being here once a week for
Mm-hmm.
the training, you can be anywhere. You can live in California
And
as
fly in
long
if
as
you want
you're
to.
willing to be here once a week for the training for the entirety of the 7 to 12 month time frame of the program.
Mm-hmm.
We're willing to work with them.
Now, that's interesting because that's a big area. I
Yeah,
mean, if you think about it. Okay. What legacy do you hope to leave here at Hope Lives Here?
I don't necessarily not concerned with mine as much as I am with Hope Lives Here itself.
I see. So you're
Uh,
committed to the program itself.
yeah, because
And,
I'm not I'm just a cog in the wheel. I'm not um, Hope Lives Here. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like
Yes.
I say, I'm not it. I'm just a part of it.
I from what I get from that, I got it's about doing the right thing for people who need the assistance, and I could imagine that could be very rewarding.
Yeah,
So
that's just what it's about, and is
it's
getting the information because you
yeah,
don't know what you don't know,
exactly. And
and being able to broaden that reach, I guess, would be the answer to that. My answer to that question,
okay.
because I think a lot of veterans in the Panhandle don't know that this service exists for one reason or another,
Mm-hmm.
whether they're not on social media or they're not in contact with the VA,
Mm-hmm.
because we get a lot of recommendations from the VA.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's a plethora of reasons why, but I think the more people that can hear the message and see the difference, because once you see it, it's easier to commit to it, in
Commit
my
to it, yes.
opinion.
Um, I've had a little experience there with the VA. Stanley is pretty popular there. No, I'm serious.
I've seen it. I've seen
And
it.
so I kind of try to use him as a role model around other vets.
Right.
And,
And we appreciate that.
and well, I mean, um, they all face different challenges, okay? And so, but we try to be positive and try to be informative about the program when we're asked. So
And I think it's important that they see y'all, because if somebody saw you at the VA with him and you were
yeah, I'll
like
bump out.
why would you want to come here?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's the normal consensus when they see our service dogs out in public.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're normally happy or head up, smiling,
Mm-hmm.
not
They got a good thing going.
right.
Yeah, and so it's but ultimately comes down to the veteran, I think.
Absolutely.
So um, are you guys involved? Hopeless here in other activities such as um, giving
Oh,
presentations,
excuse me.
receiving awards, or has there been any example? Can you give any examples of things um, recently or in the past that some accolades or anything from the community itself?
Oof. Yeah, too many to remember all of them. Not to sound like that or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
um, we just this past week, the city of Amarillo made a proclamation that June will be PTS Awareness Month, um, on behalf of Hope Lives Here
Oh,
for 2026. Um, and to me, that's a big deal,
of course. I
um,
mean, it's
because that lets the veterans that may be in that 30,000 that we were talking about that aren't connected with the VA or don't hear about programs like ours, get to see that there is people that aren't being paid by the government that do care.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's uh, a big difference. Is we,
Mm-hmm.
we're our own entity. We're not associated or involved with any kind of government entity. I mean, the VA is, they refer people to us, but
But
that's about as far as
they're limited on what they can.
right,
They can't write a referral letter, but they can say, check these people out.
right. They can
Yeah.
give them a brochure.
Yeah.
And I think that is that kind of, what's the word, visibility,
Mm-hmm.
to be in front of the city council. The mayor was there,
Mm-hmm.
and there were a couple other important people of Amarillo
Yeah.
that were there to see you and him, and to see that we are making change.
Make a change.
And
Positive change. I would
right.
like to add on to that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you do anything else outside of Hope Lives Here? Um, when somebody graduates, they need something. Um, you guys assist them still in any way, or
Oh yeah,
um,
absolutely. Once they graduate, it's not. We don't just say good luck, see you,
yeah,
never. I mean, they're a part of the Hope Lives Here family, whether they want to be or not.
okay,
And what I mean by that is some of them choose not to come around,
mm-hmm,
after, and that's their decision. That's
mm-hmm,
not ours. We're more than happy for all the graduates to come back,
mm-hmm,
because, like we talked about earlier, I think it helps the new veterans in the program believe in what they're doing when they can see it,
yeah.
not on a video or not on YouTube, but in person. They can see it.
Do you see some of the veterans getting discouraged during the program?
Oh yeah, oh
Um,
yeah, because there comes a point where the light at the end of the tunnel seems too far away. Like we're never gonna get to that point.
mm-hmm,
Um, and then I think, like I said, seeing someone who was there and made it through that point and came out the other side better for it,
mm-hmm.
kind of gives them a little bit of a morale boost to keep going.
Okay, some
More than
inspiration.
more than just me saying words, or
Mm-hmm.
because actions speak louder than words.
Yeah. Um, but if that, like veterans are have a challenge or something occurs, can they call for help in any aspect?
Oh yeah. I mean, and you've seen some of it.
Yeah.
Me and you have been to fix veterans' fences that fell over in the wind,
Mm-hmm.
or I mean, there's a lot of things that we do that we don't necessarily promote or post.
Mm-hmm.
Um, anytime any one of the veterans call, then they know they can call whenever. I mean, we tell them all.
Mm-hmm.
Our phones are always on. Um, we'll always answer. We might not be smiling when we answer if it's the middle of the night, but we'll answer.
Yeah.
Um, Trying to think. Um, One of the veterans that graduated a few years ago started a nonprofit to help kids in the foster care system,
Oh, okay.
and I'm actually a board member on that organization.
Interesting.
So that kind of came from the relationship from Hope Lives Here.
That's amazing because it's passing it forward, paying it
Right.
forward. You know,
Absolutely.
um, I think that's a pretty important aspect in the world in which we live in nowadays.
Yeah, because it's
So,
not in abundance these days.
no, it's not. If you could give one message to struggling veterans out there, what would it be?
There are people that care.
Mm-hmm.
It may not seem like it,
Mm-hmm.
because we've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't go myself to the VA for 6.5, almost 7 years after
Mm-hmm.
I got out of the Army.
Mm-hmm.
And that was because of my own silly thought process. Um, but there's people that are out there that care and want to see you or them get their life back. I know I've said that a few times, but that's the closest thing I can
Yeah.
relate it to, because that's honestly what it is. Um, and we do want to help, even if it's not, necessarily just a service dog,
Hmm.
because I feel like we do a lot more than that,
Hmm.
than just give you a service dog.
Well, I think you guys provide a sense of community, family atmosphere, um, which is very important because a lot of vets become disconnected, and to be able to restore that
Right.
is vital.
And I think it's hard to
Um,
find a place in society now for veterans to get that sense of camaraderie or community or whatever you want to call it, of like-minded
mhm,
people who are struggling with the same thing that
mhm.
they are. Because in the military, most people are,
Yeah.
but when you get out, you're on your own,
Yes.
and providing a space for them to not feel like that, I think, is important.
Yeah. I agree with you on that one. Um,
And it's not therapy necessarily, but it's fixed me more in the last 4 years than I'd probably like to admit, in a positive way.
oh, I can admit, I can agree with you there. I mean, I've you had mentioned earlier about some of the changes that I had gone through, and they've been challenging, but after the fact, they've been exciting.
Right.
Okay, so, um, but
And it's being able to be there for the veteran to get through the challenging, because a lot of times without a support system we give up in that challenging part,
mhm,
and we never make it to the reward. But if we
exactly.
can help them get to the reward so they feel that, then it almost becomes a new, I don't want to say addiction, but a new something else to chase.
Hmm. Something positive.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Um, Not to bring a downer on this, but I think it's very important for people to know that veteran suicide is, I would call it an epidemic almost.
Absolutely.
Can you share with everybody where we stand on that?
Whew, yeah. So the numbers that we have nowadays are misconstrued. They're old. They're outdated.
Hmm.
I think there's about 40 to 47% of veterans aren't even involved with the VA,
Hmm.
and the numbers that we get from the VA are numbers that they're associated with.
I see.
So it
Okay.
only includes that other 53%. It doesn't include that 47 at all.
I see.
So, and they only go off of um, direct suicide. I don't, I don't know exactly how they classify that,
Hmm.
but they don't include overdoses, either accidental or on purpose, or drinking
Drugs or
um, on purpose
yeah,
too much.
self medication.
So they don't include any of that in their numbers. So their
Wow.
numbers say it's about 22. That's also the shirt that I
Hmm.
have on
Hmm.
right now. They say it's about 22, but if you include that other 47%, it's actually about 44 to 48 a day if you include that other half. Now, that includes everything:
Hmm.
medication, alcohol, DUI, all of those, sort of anything that could be
Contribute to
contributed to death.
yes.
It's closer to almost
Yeah.
50 a day.
I didn't want to put a bummer on it, but I thought that was important
It is.
to let everybody know that. Um,
Absolutely.
I find those numbers to be staggering.
It
Um,
should make you
think 10 times,
sick.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and
And then
so,
even, sorry to cut you off, but even recently, there's been veterans going to VAs
mm,
and doing this kind of thing, and that's a problem,
yeah,
because they're not getting the help that they need. One, in some capacity,
yeah,
maybe it wasn't necessarily. the VA's fault
Mm-hmm.
per se, but I can't think of any other reason why they would have been there in the
Mm-hmm.
first place to do that,
Yeah.
to want to do that there, and that's a
Okay.
problem.
Yeah. A big problem, I think.
Yeah,
Um, well, I hope by getting the message out that curtails that number some,
yeah,
and
that's the goal.
I think awareness is a huge part of correcting any situation.
Absolutely.
Um, um, so when people hear this podcast or view it, what do you hope that they take away from it?
Hmm. That there's people out there that want to help if you want
Okay.
it, or even minus that, just to, like you said, get the information, spread the awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people. It's not something people think about, the suicide numbers.
Yes.
I don't think it's um, thought about like it should be,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been the 22 a day for so long. I think some people are numb to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a phrase to them now, more than it is a problem and
Mm-hmm.
something that's happening. Um, so spreading the awareness for that, as well as the impact of these dogs, I think would be
The goal there.
what I would want them to take away from it.
Well, good. Um, you had mentioned there was several years that had gone by prior to you going back to VA.
Mm,
I can relate to that very well because when I got out in '88, no comment now, please, okay? One day I was in the military, the next day I was like a civilian,
yeah, absolutely. Yep.
okay? And I didn't know that I had benefits for 17 years, okay? 17
Wow.
years had gone by, and then somebody told me. Um, and so,
Wow.
what my hope is also that activities like such as this gets that word out too,
Mm,
that there are people out there, like you had mentioned, willing to help. There's places to go. There's things to do,
right.
um, and all those are important. Um,
Yeah. I mean, mine, my reason was different. I got out, medically retired. At the time, I was 90% medically retired when I got out,
mhm,
and I was 24,
mhm,
23. I mean, and on the outside, I looked like a perfectly healthy young man,
mhm,
and I just didn't think it was right for me to go to the VA and ask them for help when there's people who lost limbs or stepped on IEDs, or I mean, the list goes on and on
oh yeah,
of all the terrible things that veterans have had to deal with. And I just thought my problems weren't not necessarily as important, but as bad and as in need of help
mhm,
as they were.
mhm,
So I just kind of took the mindset of I'll just stay out of the way. And then Brooke, when I started here, just would not leave me alone about it.
mhm,
Every day. Hey, did you call the VA? Hey, did you go to the VA? No, I didn't. And then it got to the point where I just got tired of hearing it.
yeah,
And she said, I think you have a TBI. And I'm like, what do you know? You don't know. And finally, I got tired of it, so I went to the VA
mhm.
and um, was immediately diagnosed with a
TBI.
TBI.
Okay.
And
Well, she's a good
yeah,
diagnostician, so.
and that's when I realized maybe my thought process wasn't necessarily the right one.
um, I think that bleeds over to a lot of veterans um, that have challenges, um, first admitting them or accepting them, and also seeking that help, thinking I'm a lesser priority than somebody else.
Right.
And I would hope that everybody knows that everybody should be on that same level as. Obviously, exceptions would be an emergency situation. You know, you go to the ER or something
Right,
like
right,
that.
right.
But with any challenge that any vet has, I feel that they should feel comfortable to reach out.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that's probably one of the problems is
Absolutely.
um, that we have in this world. So,
Hmm.
um, well, I want to thank you, Carl, for being here today and
Thank you.
for your time and everything. I hope everybody got something out of this or was interested in what we had to say. We want to spread the message of that there is a place to go to get help. Um, we believe in healing two heroes at a time through the relationship between service dogs and veterans. And so, thank you for being here today. Um, thank you for Carl for being here, and
Thank you.
hopefully, you guys will be back to watch us again. You have a great day. Bye.